Ajax, better known as
Francis.
Yep, same character, is the latest card to drop in Marvel Snap. Today we're looking over the good, the bad, other stuff, a potential deck list, and then give my recommendation on whether or not you should get Francis in this installment of
Is it worth it?
First things first, Ajax is a 5 energy, 7 power card that reads ongoing +1 power for each card in play afflicted with negative power. Alright, so just right off the bat, I have to say I can't find any pictures of it being a 7 power card, but it got changed like a week or two ago. So yeah, even the cards will say 5 power in this video, just know that it's 7. Alright, overall impressions of Francis. So I'm glad this card exists, but realistically and practically, I don't think it's going to be good enough, even though its existence is a good thing to be played in the decks that you would want to play him in. Numbers just not good or big enough. Everything goes right. Gilgamesh is usually probably a bigger card for 5 energy, and things go wrong. You have a completely useless 5 power card. So yeah, overall, it's a poop card. It's a stupid poop.
Your poop mouth! Get out the poop out of your mouth!
Alright, the good and the bad of Ajax, because even if I say it's a poop card,
Poop!
it's still got some positives, and I do have to justify why I think it's good for the card to exist. So first thing here, which is my main reason why I think it's good that this card exists, it is support for an archetype that is generally lacking and usually just absent from metagames. And that archetype is afflict, whether it's like hazmat, debris, junk stuff, or it's the high evo stuff with abomination and cyclops, yada yada. Those two decks, sure, you'll run into them once in a blue moon, but they're just not good enough to compete in competitive spaces or high on the ladder, and those decks getting a new card is just a good thing, period. And the second good thing about Ajax is your ability to control its sizing. Now, whether control its sizing by, like, for the most part, barring Luke Cage, you can control how big it's going to be, and that seems weird. Why wouldn't you want it to be as big as possible? But sometimes, for various reasons that happen in games, maybe you don't want the card over 9 power so it can't get Shang-Chi'd. Or like you know exactly how big it's going to be and its impact. The opponent doesn't, because you can play cards afterwards to impact his sizing. Say you play him on 5, and next turn you have the option of playing something like Hazmat or not. But yeah, stuff like that, information that the opponent doesn't have, and your ability to make this card as little as you want or as big as you want is simply a positive. Even that's weird to say that the card being smaller is a positive, but I just mean in general, the ability to control whether the card can be small, big, medium, whatever, is better than not being able to control it. I was reaching with that good section because I don't think there's many positives here. So let's move on to the bad. The first thing here, it's got a low ceiling. So if everything goes right and the entire board is filled, it's basically a 12, 11, a plus 23 on the card. Yeah, 528, that's pretty good. But how often in a game is every single card on the board, all fulled up, are going to be afflicted? Probably never. But while I was comparing him to Gilgamesh earlier, he can get to a 520 pretty easily, and you don't have to count on your opponent's side of the board to make it that way. Trust me when I say this card is never really gonna get bigger than like 12 to 14 power. Opponents are gonna play Luke Cage. You didn't draw your cards in time. Maybe you don't have Hazmat, or your Scorpion didn't really do much. I have a feeling this card is just gonna be like a glorified, sometimes better Gamora, and we know how often Gamora sees play. Never. Alright, next thing is this low floor. So what's the worst case scenario this card can be? 5 power? That's dog shit. So yeah, if the opponent has a counter to this card, like Luke Cage, and you don't have some way of stopping Luke Cage, congratulations, you have the worst card in the game. And not even mentioning Luke Cage, say like you just don't draw your Hazmat or Scorpion or Spider-Woman, your high evoed stuff in the proper order, you get where I'm going with this. It's gonna make Ajax really, really crappy. So everything has to go right to make Ajax just decent. And that's not a good place to be in a card. And then the last thing, have here is it's only good in one archetype. Usually cards that people say, this is busted, that's cracked, blah, blah, blah. It's because the card is really good in multiple archetypes, or it creates a whole archetype itself. Example, Loki. It created a whole archetype. That is very, very good. Other cards that are considered very, very good, Mockingbird. Mockingbird goes in so many different types of decks. That's why it's so good. Ajax? No. All right, let's move on to a potential deck list here. So this is what I'm thinking with Ajax to make it as good as possible. Yeah, we are running Hazmat without Luke Cage because, for one, you play Hazmat when it's better for you than it is for the opponent. So even if your stuff gets afflicted, it's fine. You're beefing up your Ajax, you're making your Abomination dirt cheap. And then all the other cards here, Wasp, it's a free afflict ability too. Sunspot, because we are floating a lot of energy in this deck. Misty Knight, same reasoning. Scorpion, great turn 2 play, especially when you're trying to afflict stuff. Red Guardian, a tech card that afflicts stuff, super good. Cyclops, duh. Thing, duh. Abomination, free 9 power. I expect this to be the best home for Ajax. This isn't probably a perfect deck. Maybe Hazmat is just a little overkill, and you can get away with pulling out Hazmat and putting something like another big card in there. Whatever. The point is, I have a feeling that Ajax decks aren't going to get much better than something that looks like this. All right, my ultimate recommendation on whether or not I think you should get Ajax with keys or tokens. That's what they're called, tokens. So as far as keys go, using your keys to open up Ajax. If you don't have Darkhawk, yes, it's worth it because you'll have a card in Ajax where it could be good. I could be wrong. It could be a good card, but you also get a really great card in Darkhawk. And as far as Beta Ray Bill goes, he's the definition of mid. He's not great, he's not bad, but I would never spend resources on getting Beta Ray Bill. So yeah, keys only if you don't have Darkhawk. Now as far as tokens go, I don't think any scenario I could recommend picking up Ajax for 6k tokens. What? That's too much for a card that is probably going to be bad and at best might be more decent than people think. So yeah, unless your name is Jeff Lugan or KM Best or something, don't spend tokens on this fucking card. All right, that's Ajax. I wish I could say more nice things about the card, but I just think it's gonna be an okay card in one specific archetype at best. Maybe I'm wrong. I kind of hope I'm wrong because this game needs more archetypes and Afflict has been really struggling for a long time. So yeah, maybe it's good enough. I don't know. But my recommendation on whether or not you should actually spend resources on getting Ajax, no. But if I'm proven wrong, then sure, go for it then. But until then, save your money.
That's really about it. See ya.